What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Midterm Rental Show. I'm your host, Bailey, and in this episode, we have a very special guest, Alisha. Alisha, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and we have history for those who are just tuning in here. Alicia actually used to work for me in my co-hosting company about 3-ish years ago, and we haven't after that we haven't talked too much. I've been following you on Instagram, so I've been following your journey, and I'm just super excited to chat with you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I'm so excited to catch up. We really haven't caught up since, so I'm excited to hear a little bit about your journey as well, especially with midterm rentals, because that's what the show is about. So,
For sure, for sure. So I guess when we left off like 3 years ago, I remember you had, I know, at least one Airbnb that you were co-hosting for somebody, right?
yeah, I was actually co-hosting at the time, probably between 4 and 6 Airbnbs myself. And the reason why I wanted to take a pause on building my business and I reached out to you and your company is because I was pregnant with our first baby and my husband was stationed overseas. And so at that time, it was like really chaotic. In my life. And so I put a pause on my business and wanted to just get some more experience working for somebody else who had a co hosting business. And so, yeah, at the time I was also running my co hosting business for about 4 to 6 Airbnbs. And then I also had my own Airbnb and my own midterm rental.
Yes, yeah, I do remember you own those two, right?
Yep, I own those two and
Yeah.
still currently own those.
Okay, cool, cool. So yeah, then I remember you're pregnant, you had your first daughter, and then kind of tell me, I mean, because I've seen it online, but again, we haven't had a full catch up like we are now.
Right.
Where did everything go after that?
Right, right. So at that point, when I was working with you, I was actually doing a live in renovation. And so that was back home in Wisconsin. Again, my husband was stationed overseas in South Korea at that time. And we had our first baby. And so during all that chaos, I was actually doing a live in renovation. And the goal of that was to always to do a value add so that we could sell that property and then roll those profits into the next property. So fast forward to today, it's now 2026, which is crazy. We got stationed in Louisiana, so that's where we're here now, and we are finally going to be we sold our house, made a great profit, and we're going to be rolling those profits into our next property down here in the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and that's going to be a short-term rental. So that's kind of like where everything was moving. And again, I'm still managing for a couple other people. Those are now midterm rentals, which I'm excited to dive into. Still running our current Airbnb and still running our current midterm rental that we own. So
Sweet. And then the newest one that you're rolling the profits into, is that the one that you're building or is
yes,
that a
it's
different?
it's going to be a new build. Yep, that's the one we're building.
Sweet. Okay. Well, I have so many questions about that, but
Yep.
I guess before that, so when we were working together, it was mainly, and honestly, like my memory is kind of a blur, but if I remember correctly, it was mainly short-term rentals that we were doing.
Yep.
At least the properties we were running. I can't remember when like the shift was in the portfolio of doing midterms versus short terms. Either soon after you left, we were doing midterms, or maybe slightly before. I don't remember, but I know like we were initially short-term rental focused. So I'm curious to hear like your perspective and even like your own personal property of going from all short-term rentals and you had one midterm to now being more midterm rental focused.
Right. So at the time, you were definitely more short-term rental, and
Okay.
it was chaos because I literally started in the summer in
So fair, by the way. So
during the
fair.
summer. I literally started in like May or June. So everything was just like ramping up and I was learning all the things. And again, I had a very small portfolio of my own. But then coming into yours, where it was like all lake properties and true vacation rentals, it was like, wow, this is so busy. And it's funny because my parents remember this because I was actually living with them for a little bit until we found my house to buy. And they remember like because they keep asking me, how come you're not so busy anymore? Like, I remember you were always on the phone. And I was like, I was always on the phone. So definitely now transitioning more into the midterm rentals. It's way more laid back. Definitely not on the phone as much. I mean, renters are in there between 3, sometimes 12 months. I've had renters in my portfolio. So I like it because it helps me have a diverse portfolio of having the mixture. So yeah, we actually, in my current portfolio, I used to have three of my short-term rentals that I co-host for currently. The regulations got super tight, which is why a lot of people do transition,
Mhm.
and they started hiring a ton of people working for the city to start putting bans on the short-term rentals. A lot of people got caught, and so we actually transitioned three of our short-term rentals that we were running into midterm rentals, and they are going flawlessly. It's been a great move, and so we did all that to kind of prepare for what was coming ahead. So
Nice. Cool. So with the midterm rental stuff, and it's so funny because before this episode, I was just like, I was just thinking back to 3 years ago or
yeah,
whatever, and I was like, oh my god, it was so
it
chaotic.
was
It was
crazy.
there's so many moving pieces with properties. I think part of the chaos was, well, I think half of it was me, but half of it or part of it was like we're doing short-term rentals, weekend stays, lake properties, some big, some small, different owner. It was just there was a lot going on. So it
Yes.
was just I totally remember that. But now the midterm stuff, I totally agree. It is so much more chill
Yeah.
and I love it. So for your stays that you're getting now, you said like 3 to 12 months. Where are you mainly getting your bookings from?
I honestly get most of ours from Furnished Finder.
Really?
Yes, yes, very, very seldom on Airbnb. I think Airbnb is just changing a lot, and I probably haven't optimized my Airbnb listings, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I haven't needed to, because we are getting so much great results from Furnished Finders. Yep.
Gotcha. Cool. And then what types of like people are you hosting right now for like a midterm stays?
Yeah, so my co-hosting portfolio is in the Virginia Beach area. And so most of our renters are travel nurses and heavy, heavy military families. And
Nice.
so if I were to ever invest in a midterm rental again, it would definitely be by military base because that's my background. I know how much we move and the chaos of that. And when you have a family with young kids and pets, you aren't going to want to live in a hotel. I'll tell you that right now. And
For
so
sure.
that's where I would invest for sure.
For sure. That makes sense. And what's like I'm always curious to hear because every investor I talk to, especially in the midterm space, they do things completely different. So when you get an inquiry on Furnish Finder, like walk me through your flow from okay, they inquire, you like your screening process, you finally get a lease signed, then like you collect payment from them. Like what how does that work for your business?
Yep. So when the leads come into Furnished Finder, it's so much different than like a channel like Airbnb or VRBO because I can take them off that channel without being penalized. And
Yep.
so I get their contact information right away. And we usually get on the phone. I love getting on the phone with people and having a conversation with them because a lot of times these people are really nervous because there's a lot of scammers out there, rightfully so. I feel the same
Mhm.
way with guests. It's back and forth. And
Yep.
so I get on the phone call with them, and once they can hear my actual voice and I can hear their voice, it's just an instant connection. And so then usually they want to move forward after they've asked their questions, and I use a site called Avail. There's
Mm.
many it's a landlord site. There's so many out there that are the same, but I've been doing this for the last 4 years. Avail is my go-to, and I set everything up on there. It is so easy. It's an entire website that everything stays in that website. So we create a lease, they set up payments on there, and yeah, that's pretty much my flow. It sounds so simple, but because it is, it's really
Yeah.
simple. Yeah.
Cool. Do you screen all your like do you have all of
Oh,
your guests go through background checks?
yes, yes, and that's all done through Avail as well. I first make them apply. I send them a rental application. They pay the $50 to do the application. It's background check, eviction check, and credit check, and then they type in their personal information. And so makes me feel so much more comfortable when I have that information to screen them, and so that I know that they're a legit person.
For
So,
sure.
yep, definitely do a background check, 100%.
And then does Avail also do like banking and bookkeeping, or use something else for that?
Yep, they do all the banking. The renters set up their portfolio through there and they can pay right on the Avail site. And that's where everything is kept, all my bookkeeping.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. I've heard of Avail, but I haven't used it because I use Baselane
Yeah.
pretty much, and then Turbo Tenant as well.
Yes.
But it sounds like Avail's pretty similar. I don't know
I'm
the
sure it
pros and
is.
cons. I'll have to check out Avail though. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I'm sure it is. And the reason why I actually went with Avail too, and I don't know if any other ones are different, but is because they have leases that you can tailor to your state. So that was really important for me, not knowing anything about different landlord laws because they are so
Mhm.
different between states and even cities now. So that was really important to me that I can make one per my state.
For sure. That's what I like about Turbo Tenants leases
Yes.
too. You can do the same thing, and yeah. Speaking of that, have you ran into any? I don't know if legal troubles is the right way to frame it, but like with guests, any people who don't pay you, or people you need to evict, or anything like that?
Knock on wood, in the last 4 years I've been doing this, no. And I want to speak to this because I really think that it's because when you have a midterm rental, you are charging a premium versus a long-term rental. You might not get that great of guests where renters are willing to pay extra and they can afford to do so. They're, have usually very great jobs and so they can pay their rent on time, and yeah, they just have a reputation with the companies that they're traveling with too. And so that's why I love the midterm rental space, is because my tenants or guests have been incredible. They've been really
Yeah,
wonderful.
for sure. Is there anything that you like more about short-term rentals versus mid-term rentals?
Yeah, I do. I think when you're getting into the short term rental space, you have to love hospitality. You have to go
Yeah,
above and beyond. That's just the name of the game right now. And if you don't enjoy that, you're not going to do well. And so, luckily for me, I do love hosting people. I love creating experiences for people. I love giving them local recommendations and going above and beyond if something isn't wrong with their stay and troubleshooting with them. And so, I actually do really like that piece. And so, that's what I love about short-term rentals. And then of course, you work harder, but you get paid usually better
yeah,
because they're paying premiums for their stay. So I do enjoy short-term rentals too, but I also love having the slower pace of the midterm rentals combined with that.
for sure. Speaking of like the hospitality part, do you do anything specifically like extra hospitality for your midterm rental guests that you do for short-term stays?
Honestly, not too much. But I think the biggest thing that I do, and it's so simple, but it really, maybe stands out to people, is I just create a starter pack for my guests. So that's a starter pack of supplies. Again, with midterm renters, you aren't going to be paying for their supplies for their entire 3 to 6 month stay. And so I create like a welcome basket with a little personal note, so that they feel that warmth and welcomeness that I would provide for my short term renters. So that usually is, a pack of toilet paper, paper towels. I still provide coffee and sugars and cream just for, like a week long so that they can get settled without having to go to the store right away. And my cleaner sets all this up too. And the way that it works is I actually do, when it's time for a turnover, I just do an instant Walmart order of all that starter pack. And she just sets it out nicely on the counter with a little welcome note. And that's what I do. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So I want to get into like that remote, like doing things remotely,
Yep.
because I know you've been doing, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been doing remote like pretty much since the beginning,
Since the
right?
beginning. Yep. I was in person with my short term rental and midterm rentals for probably 3 months. And then we actually moved to South Korea. So it was really
Yeah,
remote.
yeah, I do remember that. So what are some tips? You already kind of mentioned one, which is I love Walmart Business
Love
Plus.
it.
Like, are you on like the business plan or just the personal?
the business, and it's
Okay.
so fast.
So good, right?
It's
Okay,
so
good.
good. Anybody who has a short term or midterm, you got to get on Walmart. It's so much faster than Amazon. I love Amazon, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
Walmart for emergency things is clutch.
for sure. So, what other? Actually, I want to stick on the Walmart thing real quick.
Okay.
So you mentioned something about the starter pack
Yeah.
for your midterm rental guests. So do you literally just have something in your Walmart account where when you have a guest coming, you order it for delivery, for your cleaners to basically put out, like you mentioned, the starter pack of things?
Yeah, yeah. I actually have a cart built for my starter pack cart. And when it's the day of turnover, of course, I make sure that everything's still in stock. And then I just order it to my address and it gets delivered within the hour that she's there
Wow.
and she sets it up. Yep.
And then, and then how did you like train your cleaner to like set this up how you wanted to remotely?
She has been with me since the beginning, and I feel like she has been a godsend. She is truly an angel. And we just created this incredible partnership where it is so easygoing. I trust her. She trusts me to take care of her and provide for
Mhm.
her family. And so she just works so hard. And she sends me photos of all of her cleans and how she's setting things up. The biggest thing I always look for in cleaners is, are they receptive to feedback? If they are not receptive to feedback, it is going to be a very hard relationship. And I've been there. She will take accountability if things were missed, or if a guest says this could have been different, or if I say this could have been different. She doesn't blame anybody else. And so moving forward, that's absolutely what I will look for in cleaners. And so I will say there was very minimal training of how to set it up. I let her take accountability for a lot of things. And this is very much her business as it is mine. She
Gotcha.
takes full control of a lot of things. I mean, it was her idea to start writing these notes for our midterm guests. And so I let her take care of that. And she became to love it as much as I do. And so I
Awesome.
really think it's such a trusting relationship, and letting your cleaners take control and letting them feel like they're a part of what you're doing too, because it's their business too. They are such a huge role, if not the biggest role, in how you're going to perform.
For sure. Totally. Do your guests, do you get feedback directly from the guests about the handwritten cards and about the starter pack?
Oh
The
yeah,
starter kit?
definitely. They always like either text me like a thank you, like this was so helpful so we don't have to. I mean, a lot of times they're traveling from across the country and they don't have toilet paper and paper towels packed. And so it's just that little thing sets the tone for the rest of their stay, and they're so appreciative of it for sure.
That's awesome. I like the handwritten card idea. That's something that I haven't tried. I have
Yeah,
tried doing like a starter pack of some snacks, some water bottles, some stuff
even
like
that.
that. But literally, I didn't hear a single word from any guest. And not to say that they didn't appreciate it, because maybe they were just so busy moving
Yes.
that they were like, oh my God, this is amazing, ate it, and then just like moved on. But not gonna lie, after I did this for a couple dozen guests and didn't hear one person mention anything about it, not even like, yeah, nothing. I was like, wow, I guess this is kind of a waste of money. And then I stopped doing it, to be honest. But maybe if it was something like incorporating a handwritten card or something that's like extremely personal, maybe that would have gotten a different reaction. So maybe that's something I can try.
Yeah, maybe try it. But I love the idea of putting out snacks and water too, because a lot of times they're traveling in a car for a long time,
Yeah.
and they're just need that stuff to like get moved in, because it's chaos when they get there to try to move all their stuff in and start a new lifestyle where they're at.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Maybe it's also about reaching out to check in. I always also reach out to them the next morning to see if they got settled in okay, if there's anything else they need. I always ask them that the next morning, or if they're getting in earlier in the day, I ask them at night. And so that's usually when the feedback comes back.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
So besides you got Walmart Plus, Walmart Business Plus, you got Avail. What other softwares what other softwares do you use to run your business?
Well, the number one software I could not live without is actually Hospitable. And I know that you're a Hospitable user yourself.
Yep. Love it. Love
Yep.
it.
I I'm obsessed with Hospitable. I am like ride or die Hospitable. So I hope that they keep improving and don't change too much on us. But I've been with them since day one when I started. It's so easy to hook up Turno to it too. I still use Turno,
Mhm.
so that my cleaners know when guests are checking out as well. But it just keeps everything on my calendar because, again, I still have other properties too. And so I still need to make sure that I'm keeping track of all of the check ins and checkouts, and Hospitable does that for me.
For sure. And then do you use Hospitable's dynamic pricing feature?
I
Use
don't.
different one or nothing?
I don't. I actually use Price Labs for my short term rentals, but for my midterm rentals, I actually price out myself just based on the market. I mean, of course, during prime time when COVID hit and travel nurses were making so much money, we could charge a premium. But since then, I've definitely decreased our pricing, which has helped get bookings come in. But I've just actually used Furnish Finder to judge what other people are doing in the market. You can educate me on this, but I have not actually found a wonderful program that helps pricing of midterm rentals.
Yeah, there really isn't anything,
Okay,
to be honest. Nothing that I found at
right.
least. I kind of use the same method of like looking at Furnish Finder, what are other people charging? I
Yep.
look at Airbnb,
Hmm.
see what other people are charging for monthly stays. Those are kind of like the main two things that I do. And then the third thing is you can kind of this is kind of just like extra, but you can see what a hotel is charging
Oh,
and then kind of get like an idea that okay, this is like their other option. Again, like a traveling nurse, they're gonna 99% of the time pick a house with a kitchen and stuff. But if you do
definitely.
like an extended stay hotel, you can kind of like compare. But yeah, Furnish Finder and Airbnb are my main two.
Yep, that's how I do it as well. So right now I'm not using any pricing tools for midterm rentals just because again there I haven't found that there is one.
Yep.
Maybe we can create something, Bailey,
Yeah,
but
there we go.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's been my actual struggle from day one, honestly, is figuring out how I should price my property.
Yeah.
And it's just been feeling it out over the last 4 years, to be honest, and feeling the market shifts. And it's definitely like there, you do still get seasonality for sure with midterm rentals, in my experience. The winters are slower because jobs are slowing down too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just feeling it out. And also, my guests kind of give me feedback. They're like, hey, this is what I can afford. Are you able to work with me? And so I actually do a lot of times work with my guests if I'm trying to fill a spot, just based on what they're able to get with their contract for work.
Yeah, totally. Makes sense. Do you use a software like Notion or any sort of Google Docs or anything to keep your information
I do.
intact?
I do use Notion. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Notion's been my thing. But
Very cool.
yeah, I do for sure need to get better about putting more into Notion because again, a lot of it is in my head because I've been doing this
Yeah.
for 4 years. So that is a goal of mine, is for sure to get things out of my head and onto paper.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Have you hired anybody yet for your business? Like not like cleaners or handyman, but like someone internally?
I have not. I did for a little while when I was overseas in South Korea because again it's literally a 12 to 13-hour time difference. And
Yeah.
so at that time AI wasn't a thing yet for running your short-term rentals and doing guest
Yeah.
automations and stuff like that. And so I didn't have AI, so I did hire a VA from the Philippines who helped cover my off shift. So she would take the hours that I was sleeping because that was literally the daytime here in the States. And then I would take the other ones to cover like the night shift.
Right. Nice. Speaking of AI, how are you using AI in your business right now?
Yeah, that is something that is also a goal of mine. I am not using AI really yet. I mean, of course, ChatGPT is amazing for, getting questions answered and creating content and all that stuff. And I definitely know that AI is the future. And that's how guests are going to be probably searching for places to stay as well. But if I do move into AI, I think that I will probably get like a chat bot set up with AI. That's probably my next move. But yeah, I'm curious to see if you're using it yet for like midterm rentals or anything.
Yeah, well, so a couple things. Number one, the easiest one in my opinion is like on Hospitable. Do you use like the AI reply button?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, that one it's a simple one. But that's like one thing that I do
Okay.
that's really nice. And then the other thing that I do that has honestly probably saved me a ton of money at this point is okay, so whenever there's a maintenance issue at a property,
Mm-hmm.
I prefer not, like, let's just say there's a issue with the HVAC system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to just call an HVAC guy right away because they're going to charge me a bajillion dollars. So I first call my handyman. Handyman goes out there and he has some experience with, HVAC, but he's
Yes.
not a pro. So this actually happened a couple weeks ago where he said, "Hey, I think it's broken because I don't hear the fan going."
Okay.
And it's like this whole long story, but I'm like, I don't really. The way he was describing it, I could kind of tell that I didn't think he knew what was talking about. So I basically said to ChatGPT, "Hey, my handyman's over at my property. This is what he's telling me about the system. Like, what do you think about this?" And since it was like a boiler heating system, basically ChatGPT told me like the fan that my handyman was mentioning has like no relevance in this case. So I said, so I basically had this communication back and forth with my handyman and ChatGPT. Like literally, I was on the phone with the guy. I said, "Hold on 1 second," da da da, and I said, "That's not an issue." So that because he initially said, "Hey, you definitely need to call an HVAC guy," and I was like, "Hold on, like there's nothing even broken about." It was just like that was like a weird scenario, but it honestly was pretty clutch because if it wasn't for ChatGPT, I would have instantly called a HVAC guy.
Yep.
Probably would have spent $200 after hours to get him out there, plus whatever repairs they would have done, even though it didn't need any repairs. So I don't know, just understanding some of those maintenance type things I wouldn't typically know. That's a big one for me. I'm trying to think of any other maintenance ones that I've done. I had a pipe burst at a property recently,
I saw that.
and yeah, and so like for that, I basically like it was like kind of a chaotic moment because like water's literally gushing out of the wall.
Yep.
My guest is texting me, and it was like this whole thing and they couldn't find the shut off valve. I'm like, oh my god! So I go to ChatGPT. I'm like, where? Like, I obviously know like the obvious places where a water shut off valve could
Right.
be. And I was like, they can't find it. Where else can I look? And that didn't actually help because it was a long story. They couldn't find it after all. But my handyman got there within 5 minutes, and it was
Oh
all
wow.
fine. But just being able to, I don't know, chat's just so good at knowing like everything, I guess.
It is so good, yeah, and especially for maintenance. I definitely have used it for maintenance things as well. So that's really great. But yeah, speaking of challenges, I feel like the biggest challenge in my business is maintenance for sure. Maintenance,
Like,
definitely.
what about maintenance is like the big like what part of it? Like keeping up with it, like the cost of it.
Definitely the unexpected and unknowns for sure. Again, my properties are a little bit older, the ones that I currently have. And so there's just always things that no matter what are going to come up. And so I have probably done it all as far as maintenance. We just replaced a roof. I had to replace a rotted out deck in the back with concrete. I also had a water leak and had to replace my entire floors and other piping and stuff like that because it wasn't done correctly, apparently. And I just feel like there's always things that come up unexpectedly. And so thank goodness I had the reserves to do all those things without coming out of pocket. And so that's a huge thing for me is like I will always make sure that I have reserves and not spending it on paying myself out or XYZ. I will always have that for backup because things it's not if it's when. And I have had that firsthand experience 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a certain rule of thumb that you like to have in a reserve account specifically for your properties? I know some people say 6 months of principal and mortgage payments. Do you have a certain rule that you try to go by?
Yeah, I feel like I've always had 3 to 6 months. That's
Yeah,
what allows me to feel comfortable for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of in like the 3 month boat kind of, and then I kind of realized that for my comfort level, I actually wanted more than
Yeah,
that because it's like the 3 to 6, or let's say 3 months is for mortgage payments. But then if you have to
exactly.
go 1 month with a property vacant, which honestly, I don't knock on wood, the longest I've had to go with the property being vacant due to like repairs has been like 2 days, or I haven't had
Wow.
any significant period yet. Um, but with that, it's like let's just say it was a month long repair for whatever it was. Then I also have to pay for the repair,
Yep.
which the repair itself or the replacement of something could be triple the cost of the mortgage. So then I'm like, shoot, if I just have 3 months of mortgage, expenses, yeah, I could pay the mortgage each month for 3 months. But then if the repair comes, then it's like, how am I going to pay for the repair? So that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, a few more months would be kind of nice for me personally.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely sit at like the 3 to 6 month range because when I'm paying for a roof that costs me $12,000, then my money goes down a lot more, and so I'm always trying to like build it back up.
Yeah,
So, but for sure, definitely 6 months is more comfortable than three, 1000%.
yeah, for sure. I know you said your properties are older. Like when you say older, what's like the age range of your properties, or when were they built?
Well, my short-term rental was built in 1905.
Wow.
So that's by far my oldest one, and it was completely like renovated since then, probably 15 years ago. Like it was a flip. And
Nice.
we've definitely found some issues with that flip because once things are in the walls, you can't see what's in the walls.
Yep.
So, lesson learned there. It's a property that I've had issues with, but I'm also making great money on it. So, it's still keeping that in our portfolio. And then our midterm rental was late 70s.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
yep. So it's just so late 70s, early 80s, we've definitely come up on all those CapEx things because it's now 2026. And so we
Yep.
definitely like are coming up on all of that stuff right now. So that's
Totally.
why we're dealing with a lot of that.
For sure. And is this part of the reason why you decided to do a new build, or what was like
Yes.
the thought behind going new construction?
A few things. Maintenance, 1000%, because I have dealt with literally everything you can think of. And I feel like I know how to build a house by now. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. No, I
I know
yeah.
so much more
Absolutely.
about houses than I ever thought I would know, and it's great though because I now know from experience, like, and I can question when people are pricing me things or like if something happens, I'm like, oh, I've dealt with this before. Um, so, but maintenance for sure, because again, like you don't know when things are going to break. And now that we're doing this new build now, I know exactly when the HVAC was installed. I know exactly when the hot water heater was installed, the roof, everything is going to be brand new. And so that makes me feel better about everything. And then, of course, we have like the builder warranty. Um, some things are going to be 1 year, and then I have like a 5 to 10 year warranty on major things as well, like the building structure and stuff like that. And also our lifestyle. My husband works a full time W 2. I'm a full stay at home mom of a toddler and a baby. And so we wanted to do originally like a live in renovation like I had done previously, but just with everything going on right now, we just couldn't find anything that we wanted. And instead of playing the waiting game, this opportunity came up. And so we just went with it. And it just feels like such a perfect fit for where we're at in life right now.
For sure. So what's like the kind of give me like the rundown? Like, is it what kind of property are you building, and where is that in the process right now?
Yep. So we just finally got so the offer was submitted in late October and it was accepted.
For the
And
land, right? For just the land.
so, yeah, well, this is going to be a different structure. So we're closing just like a regular loan because the builders actually had purchased the land and they are financing the entire deal until it's built. So we're not out any money right now, and our financing
Wow.
doesn't kick in until we close, just like a regular house. And so that felt really amazing to us because I know the house that we're buying, I can now start planning for design and amenities besides like the 30-day window that you would regularly have for closing on a house. Like I have such a longer timeline to start doing all that, the due diligence and stuff. I now found like better insurance because I've had that time. I found better lending because I had that time. And so we put in the offer in October, and we just finally got the permits from the city. The builders do all of this, by the way, and so they
Yeah.
finally got the permits. So next is getting the survey done, and we're actually supposed to be getting that done either today or tomorrow. And we're heading out to the property this weekend to make sure that all of the placement is going to be on the land that where we want it to be.
Yep.
And we're also going to be having like an in-ground pool and spa on it. So
Nice.
that's all going to be like mapped out for us. So that's where we're at in the process right now. And then from there, it's probably going to be 2 months until it's completely finished. So that's our
Wow.
timeline. So hopefully, end of April, beginning of May, we're going to be closing on the house and getting it up and running real quick.
So okay, wait, that's super interesting. So if I'm hearing you correctly, the builder bought the land. They're taking care of all the building costs right now, and then you already have a set price where no matter what happens, that's your price.
Yes, that's in our contract.
Wow,
Yes.
that's really interesting because I was actually just looking at a vacant piece of land, kind of similar reason. I was like, man, if I could just build, even if it cost a tad bit more on the front end, I would at least not have maintenance for the next like couple of years or whatever. And I think that would make sense. But then I was like thinking about all the hold costs, the build costs, all these
Yes.
things. But that's really interesting that you're just buying it at a set price no matter what, basically.
Yeah, that's why it was like a no-brainer to us. Again, it's not going to be completely custom. They are catering to some of our needs. For example, we're going to be doing like built-in bunks, and we didn't want like this huge master closet. Just little things like that. They're catering to our needs because this
Yeah.
again is going to be built for a short-term rental, not for a family to live in. And
Yeah.
so a lot of it they had the plans already, but they allowed us to tweak them a little bit, but it's again not going to be like everything custom to your
Gotcha.
needs. So, yeah, again, it just was a no-brainer to us because we were looking at deals for about 50,000 less than what we're paying for this house. But then again, we need to do a lot of fixing upping, and we would have to put in a pool to compete with other rentals in the area. And so by that time it like didn't make sense. It would have been over what we're paying for a brand new house. So
Right. For sure. How did you find this deal?
yeah, so I found a realtor in the area who has a portfolio of probably 5 short-term rentals, and her husband actually is a co-host in the area as well. So they're very well versed in the game down here. And we had been looking with her. We actually toured some properties with her back in the springtime, and again we actually put in an offer on one and it got declined. We totally lowballed this guy thinking that he would negotiate, but he was totally offended. But again, it's been actually a year and this house is still sitting on the market. So I don't think he was a serious seller, to be honest. He was just seeing what he could get out there. And he's one of those people that isn't wanting to drop their prices since even COVID, like it's past that time. But anyway, everything happens for a reason, right? And so I told her, like, if anything else comes up, please let us know. And so months gone by, we actually started touring houses in different markets. Nothing, again, was making sense for the numbers and what we could wanted to put into it. And so this house is literally like an hour drive for us. And my realtor came to me and said, hey, I have a builder who is building a house for another one of my investors. His price range is like 3 times as ours. And so she's like, they have actually a piece of land that they have in their portfolio that they want to build on. And so they're looking for a buyer. And so we came in and decided that it's going to be a great, great deal for us. They said that they could, shrink the square footage of the house to make it within our buy range. And so that's kind of how it came about. My realtor just was like, hey, I think I have something for you.
Wow, that's clutch. That's super cool. Love that.
Yeah. It's been such
And
a long
so,
time coming. We were getting like super impatient because, again, we sold our house a year ago in Wisconsin. We haven't bought anything since. We have 2 houses in our portfolio. We thought we would scale a little bit faster, but
yeah,
just with our lifestyle, with the military lifestyle, it just wasn't working. And having 2 babies in between, so now it finally feels like the right time. And then this opportunity came up at like the perfect time. So
for sure. That's awesome.
yeah.
Speaking of Wisconsin, do you think you'll ever make your way back there?
Probably when my husband retires, all of our family is back there, and like it's a dream to have a lake house there. So um maybe we'll open something there.
Yeah.
So, but I think in the next so my husband retires from the military in 5 years. So we'll have
Nice.
one more duty station after where we're at currently, and then he'll be retired. So maybe we'll make our way back then.
Nice. I remember. I remember we met at some ice cream shop in Wisconsin. But was that near where you lived? I
Yes,
couldn't
it's
remember.
called Kelly's Creamery. It's so
Yeah,
amazing.
I remember that, but I couldn't remember like where. I just remember like driving, and I don't know. It was like classic Wisconsin. I don't know where I was going, but
Yeah, you just
is that
drive in farmland until you get to the next town.
literally? Yeah, that's funny. So you've got this build hopefully done, sooner than later. And then what's like I guess since your husband has 5 years left until he's done, what's kind of the 5 year vision if you have one?
Yeah, so my vision is to create a portfolio for ourselves that's not anything extravagant. We don't want 50 to 100 doors. We don't want that big a portfolio because for the first time in our life, we will not be tied to where the military is telling us to go, what we
Mhm.
can do, how far we can travel, when we're able to get vacation time. We've had a pretty extensive career. My husband has deployed 6 times since we've been together in the last 10
Wow.
years. And so it's a pretty hard lifestyle. And so my dream is to have a rental portfolio that can support us to travel around the states and maybe other countries. And so to me, I envision like 6 to 10 cash flowing properties. I feel
Love it.
like that's a good spot. And so that could be a mix between midterm rentals and short term rentals. Um, Again, after this one, we'll have 3 in our portfolio. And then I think after that one's up and running, we have the benefits of being a military family. And so possibly getting another home that we can live in as a primary. And then once we get orders somewhere else, we can then keep that in our portfolio and rent that out. And so
Right.
we're here for the next 3 years. And so that's our plan after this new build is up and running, is to move out of where we currently are, which is we're currently in a rental property. And so
Okay.
our plan is to move out of here into a primary, keep that primary as a rental, and move to our next duty station and do that
Love
again. So
it.
so that's like our plan. I think they call it like the nomad investing lifestyle or something. So that's kind of like what I envision us doing.
Okay, very cool. And then you said travel. Do you have any things on your like any destinations on your bucket list that you want to
Yes.
go either in the States or international?
Currently where you're living, I've not been to Colorado, and that's very sad to me because we love hiking, we love mountains. We've been to the Canadian Rocky Mountains and Banff, and we've never been to Colorado. So that's on our bucket list. I really just want to get out in nature and hike. And so Colorado, Arizona is a huge one for us, doing the Grand Canyon. Anything that involves nature and hiking is something
Yeah.
that I crave all the time. And so those are like the 3 big ones. So the West Coast, because we lived on the East Coast for a while. And so now we're like wanting to get out West. My husband really wants to do the Pacific Northwest Trail, do all that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that we want to do. So
Wait, well,
maybe my dream will come true and my husband will let us RV for like a couple months and see the states. So
that'd be cool. Well, if you make it to Colorado in the next like 6 months, let me know. If
I
not, I
know,
won't be here.
I know.
But I will be in Wisconsin. So
I
when you're
know.
back in Wisconsin,
I'm
I will
sure
be
our
there.
our paths will cross for sure
Yeah,
in
definitely
person.
for sure. Any other like midterm rental, short term rental wisdom that you or any tips, tricks, anything that you have in your back pocket that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, things are changing and getting very competitive.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people just know that now, and to get in the game, you have to know what you're doing, and it's taking a lot more capital than what it was previously. So just having that mindset coming in, but again, you can totally get into analysis paralysis and not do anything. And so I'm kind of glad that I came into a lot of things like super blind. Like I had no idea how to analyze a deal when I bought my first property.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but I think that it worked out in my benefit because I learned along the way. And I think most of my education honestly has came from podcasts just like this one.
Yeah,
Have been listening to podcasts for the last 4 years, and the amount of knowledge I was just able to gain from podcasts alone is worth a course that you're going to buy, honestly.
for
And
sure.
so if anybody is serious about into this, I think just hunkering down and finding your pathway, whether it be short-term rentals, midterm rentals, pick one and really study that and get familiar with how you can beat your competition. And that's kind of like where I'm standing with this next property is like, I know what I need to do to beat my competition. And that's what we're going to be doing with the design and amenities and everything like that. But I think if I were to say it again, is like jump before you're ready and build your wings on the way down. You will not know everything from day one. There's gonna be so much that I'm gonna be learning through this new build. That I've never done a new build before. We've never built a house. I had no idea what the process was going to be, and so I'm learning that, right? But we decided to go with it and trust that we knew what we were doing, and yeah, we're going for it. So I think that's like my little nuggets of wisdom for anybody else, and also to not compare your journey to anybody else's.
For sure.
I tell myself that all the time because I social media can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. You see a lot of people having success, but you don't know the background of what's going on behind the scenes, and also your journey is so different, like just the way you live, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you're in school, if you work a W-2, your life is so much different than other people's. And so to like not compare yourself is like the biggest thing I'm telling everyone and myself as well.
For sure. 100%. I totally agree with you. And I know you post about your journey, like just sharing like what's going on. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm at underscore Hello Haven. You can find me there on Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram. So find me there, especially if you're like wanting to follow our journey about the new build. I'm going to be posting all of it. So I'm excited about that. I also have a lot of like midterm rental highlight bubble on my Instagram that you can check out there if you're like interested in the midterm rental game too.
Sweet. Well, Alicia, thank you so much for coming on. Definitely give her a follow. Great catching up with you. I'm so glad we got to do this.
I know,
Long
me too.
overdue. Long
Still long
overdue.
overdue.
And I will definitely be following your journey and excited to see this new build and everything you have to come.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.